Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. My name is Joe. Today I am going to be doing the gameplay video for the game Platoon Commander Deluxe, the Battle of Kursk. This is from Flying Pig Games and is designed by David K. Van Hoos. I did 3 videos on this game earlier this year as part of Flying Pig February, and those are obviously still on the channel, so if you would like to see some other stuff from this game, feel free to check that out. I also did an introductory video on this game, just kind of going over the rules and, taking a look at components and things like that. Just fairly basic stuff that would normally have been something like a first look video. In this case, however, since I had done things on the game previously, I had obviously played it before. I didn't think it would probably be all that useful to do something like that, so I elected to go for an introductory video instead, and this will be our playthrough video. So here's a look at the scenario we'll be playing. We're doing Southern Face operations. This will be scenario number 9, River Bridgehead. July 6th, 1943, found infantry of the 6th Panzer Division along with elements of a panzer company that included 2 Panzer VI Tiger I platoons under an intense Soviet artillery barrage. To escape the artillery, the 6th Panzer attempted to cross a river and take the high ground, concealing the artillery spotters. So we'll be using map B. First, the 1 hex row will be the north edge. Victory points, there are 3 victory point hexes, Q2, I5, and G8. Each is worth 1 victory point. Victory is determined by the total number of victory hexes the German player controls at scenario end. 3 would be an operational German victory. 2 is a tactical German victory. 1 is a Soviet tactical victory. And 0 is an operational Soviet victory. The Soviets set up first. They get 10 T-34-76s, 2 Su-152s, a 45mm M1942, 1 Zis-3 76mm gun, 1 120 PM-43 mortar, and 8 infantry, and they can set up in any hex, any full hex that is, north of the river. German forces consist of 2 Panzer VI Tiger Is, 2 Sturm Panzers, 8 Panzer IVs, 4 Panzer IIIs, 2 Granatwerfer 42 mortars, 2 Pak 181F 47mm guns, 8 infantry, 2 Panzer Pioneer, 2 Opel Blitz, and they set up on any full hex numbered 11 or 12. Our special scenario rules. Soviet infantry's morale is 4 in city hexes. We place a dug in for each victory hex. Half hexes not playable in this one. Stream hexes are impassable. They represent a river. Hex side H10, H11 represents a ford and may be crossed by expending 1 extra movement point. Treat Soviet minefield cards as artillery cards with a 4 firepower attack. This is a 6-turn scenario. The Germans and Soviets both start with 3 cards each, and the German and Soviets each receive 1 card per turn starting in turn 2. Here we have a look at our initial setup. The green are the Soviet forces. The gray here are the German forces, as you would expect. Here is our river that runs through here. H1011 is right here. This is the ford. Here's the bridge. There is another bridge over here. I elected not to set up either side's forces on this end. The Soviets set up first. In hindsight, I may have wanted to set up some forces over here to at least, draw some of this stuff off maybe and come up this way and try and cross this bridge. But that's not what I did, so we're going to play it as is. I do have the cards here for each side that I already drew. So these are the Soviet cards. Now the cards, as you would see in the introductory video, you could see that they have 2 sides, one for the Germans at the bottom and the top is the Soviets. So we can ignore that airstrike. They get a sniper attack, which is, it disrupts a target within 4 hexes of and with a clear line of sight to a city, town, or forest hex. So they can actually use this card in either the fire or movement because there are some German units near forests and the city's right there. Airstrike and Kontrabatar Ogun. German player must discard all artillery cards in their hand. So things like this, where you're stealing a card or playing this to make them throw something out, I typically use a die roll to determine that, since I'm playing both sides. Now for the Germans, they use the bottom half. They have an artillery barrage. They have bore-sighted, which increases all range bands of the selected unit 1 hex for 1 attack. So that's actually kind of useful. And then an op fire, which allows you to do an op fire without changing the fire status, fire marker status. So first thing we will do is roll for initiative. So we're going to roll one. We'll roll one for the Germans first. They get a 3. And then we'll roll for the Soviets. They get a 4. So Soviets have initiative. So once you do initiative, you would draw action cards. We already have our action cards for turn 1, so we are not drawing any. Rally phase is not needed because nobody is disrupted. So now we go to the fire phase. So fire phase is pretty straightforward here. We have units. We can decide who we want to attack, and it alternates. So the Soviets would do one, then the Germans, back and forth. Once we get to the movement phase, you move all your units, and then the other side moves all their units. So for our fire phase, let's see, what do we want to do first? So we have the Su-152 and a T-34-76 in the same hex. So if we say the 152 is going to attack this hex right here, our Tigers, they are 1, 2, 3 hexes away. They're on a hill, so they do have line of sight. The Germans are in a clear hex, which will do them no favors. They do have 2 Panzer VIs in this hex. So the way this works is you look at the band, the color of the band of the attacking unit, which is red. So at up to 5 hexes, up to 3 hexes, 1, 2, 3 is short range. So they're in short range, actually. And the T-34 would be the additional firer, which will give them a 2-column shift to the right. So this is already going to be a really powerful attack. But the Tiger has an 8 armor, which will shift it back from basically from, well, that'll make that 12 a 4, and then they'll get 2-column shifts to be an 8. So that is, so here's the columns. You have 12. They're going to get a 2-column shift to the right, but they're going to go down by 8. So they're going to end up, well, it's 12 minus 8 is 4, and then the 2-column shift, they get an 8. But for short range, they actually get another column shift to the right. So that makes it a 10. So they're in the 10 column, which is really, really good. So we roll 1d10. Low is better than high in this case, and we roll the 7. So we look at the 10 column, 7, 8 is 4 hits. Okay, so the Soviets have 4 hits, and now the Germans will roll against their morale, which is 5, to see if they can avoid hits. So anything 5 or lower would negate the hit. So that's 1 hit is negated. That's 2 hits negated because we go from 0 to 9 in this game. That's 3 hits negated. 4 hits negated. They actually avoid all hits that time, which is really interesting and fairly rare. So now the Germans will get to attack. So turnabout being fair play, this unit will attack these guys right here. So we have the same thing. We have a 12, and they will get the 2-column shift for the extra unit. They are attacking a unit with a 6. So 12 minus 6 would be a 6. They get 2 column shifts to be a 10, and then another column shift, which will bring it to a 12. So this is rolling on the 12 because we're at short range. And we get a 4, and a 4 in the 12 column is 5 hits. Now the Soviet morale is 3, so they have 5 hits. They fail, that's 1 hit. I'm going to roll 4 dice at the same time here. I realized I shouldn't have been rolling those individually. Okay, so they end up with 2 hits out of the possible 5. So 2 hits hit them both. They both take 1 hit, therefore, because you have to divide them evenly. So both of these units are disrupted. So I'm just going to drop a disrupted on top of both of them. Our German tanks here get a fired. Now they cannot assault. Now the reason I elected to fire with them was to disrupt this unit in the hopes of, like these guys here, these T-34s, if they fire at them, they have lower firepower. This was an Su-152. I was hoping to disrupt it to prevent it from attacking these guys at point blank range. We're going to go with these two tanks here. So that's an 8. A green band range, 3 hexes away, 1, 2, 3 is normal. So they won't get a column shift. So it's 8 minus 8 is a 0. So they're in the 0 column, but they do get a 2 column shift for 2 units. So they're going to be in the 4 column right here. And so we'll roll for that. And we get a 2, which is a really good roll. A 2 in the 4 column is 3 hits. So again, the Germans will be rolling against their morale of 5. We'll roll 3 for each hit. And they get 2 hits. They got 2 6s, so that would be 2 hits. So that is going to actually disrupt both of the Tigers. Now, actually, this should be on the single die. So, okay, so back to the Germans now. So these 2 guys are disrupted. So this is the fire phase. So we have to keep that in mind. We're not able to move here. We can only fire. We'll have these guys here fire at our infantry inside the town here, which would also impact the gun because that's not an armored unit. Now they do also have the focus, but that again does not allow them to re-roll hits. So here we'll be using our HE factor, which is the 8 here in green. Now the range for green to be normal is 3. They are 1, 2, 3 hexes away. So it is 8 plus 2 column shift to the right for having 2 units. There is no other adjustment. There is no armor, so there's no adjustment there either. They do, however, get an adjustment for terrain. They're in a city or town. So if you go town and you come over here, column shift to left for leg/AFV. So in fire combat, they get a 2 column shift to the left. So the 2 column shift to the left cancels out the column shift to the right. So we're rolling on the 8 column. We roll 1 die, we get a 6. 8 column 6 is 3 hits. So we roll 3 dice for the Russians. And they negate 2 of the hits. So we get 1 hit. So that will disrupt the infantry. I'm going to put the gun on top. And we mark these guys as fired. It goes back to the Soviets. I forgot to put the flanked on here because this attack should have been a flank attack because they were attacked from here and these 2 are not adjacent to each other. So this one should have been a flank attack, and I knew that in my head as I was doing it. I'm like, oh, this is a flank attack, and I forgot to account for that. But they are flanked, and I'm going to put them as flanked, and we'll attack them with this guy. Same thing, it's 8, 2 column shift to the right. They do still have their 8 armor. So 8 minus 8 is 0. They get a 2 column shift to the right, which brings them to 4, and then an additional 1 for flanking. So they're rolling in the 6 column, and they got a 7. So 6 column, a 7 is 2 hits. So now the Germans have 2 hits they need to try to negate, and they negate them both. The Tigers are hard to kill, as they should be. All right, so now we go back to the Germans. I'm going to use an artillery barrage. So we're going to play this card, Artillery Barrage, which is an 8 firepower attack. A friendly eligible unit. So he can see him, so this will be our spotting unit. This guy could also be the spotting unit. It doesn't matter. We do have an eligible unit who can see him. So it attacks the target hex and 2 adjacent hexes. And it's an 8 firepower. Now, it is modified by armor, terrain, and stacking. So if the target hex contains 2 units, which it does, 1 column shift to the right, and they're going to get they will also get a 2 column shift to the left for being in a town. And I'm going to hit this one and 2 adjacent. I can do these 3 right here like this. Okay, so our attack is an 8. It gets shifted 1 to the right. It gets shifted 1 to the right, which would make it a 10, and then 2 to the left, so it's a 6. And that's going to be true for all 3 hexes. They're all 6. So we're going to roll. I'm going to roll all 3 dice at the same time. Let's roll just 1. Oops. I started to roll and realized I had 2 dice in here, so I wanted to take them out. We get a 5. So 5 in the 6th column is 3 hits. So we'll start here in the middle with the main one. So we have 3 hits here, and 2 of them connect. So we're going to end up with both units disrupted, and the infantry is going to take a step loss. And now we'll do this one. Same thing. We're rolling on the 6th column. We get a 9, which is awful. That's going to be 2 hits. So we roll 2 dice. And they both hit, so both units are disrupted. And now we'll roll the 3rd one. And we roll a 9 again, which we know is 2 hits. And 1 hits, so we will disrupt 1 of the infantry. Okay, so that is the end of that phase for the Germans. Now the Russians, let's do an airstrike. So we're going to do an airstrike with the Russians. So let's do an airstrike. So the way this works is very similar to the artillery. And we take our IL-2 counter here, which is our attack aircraft. And you can see it's got an armor attack of 6 and an HE attack of 8. Now it can attack both infantry and an armored unit in the same hex. So we'll have it attack. We're going to attack this guy right here. So I'm just going to drop that on top of there for the moment. Oh, okay. So it has to use its armor-piercing firepower because it's mixed. So it's going to use the 6, which will get reduced by 4 to a 2. And then it's considered flanking fire. So it always gets a 1 column shift to the right. So that would make it the 4 column. But yeah, they're in clear terrain. So it's in the 4 column. We roll 1 die. And they get a 5. 4, 5 is 2 hits. We roll 2 hits here. I'll roll just to split them up, I'll roll the infantry first. That's good. And I'll roll the tank, and that's also good. So both pass. No harm, no foul there. Airstrike with no effect. So now back to the Germans. I'm going to play my bore-sighted here on this hex. And I'm going to put it on the infantry. So that's going to make them an orange band as well, which means that they get normal firepower to attack this hex. So both of these are attacking that hex. That's a 16 firepower. And they get a 2 column shift to the left. So that makes it a 12. No, it makes it a 10. I'm sorry. It makes it a 10. And then we get a 2 column shift to the right for having a 2nd unit, which brings it back to a 16. So this is a good attack. And it's a 6. So a 6 in the 16 is still 6 hits. So it's going to be really hard for these 2 units to avoid getting into trouble here. We do have 6 dice, so I'm going to roll all 6. And so they negate 1, 2, and 3. So they negated 3, but they take 3 hits, which is actually going to eliminate these guys, I think. Because they're already disrupted, both of them. So the first hit would eliminate this one. Second one would flip this to reduced, and the third one would eliminate it. The focus goes off. It's not gone for good, but it is gone for now. And that ends, the disrupted can come off. Let's disrupt. Let's use this sniper attack card for the Soviets and disrupt. Let's disrupt this infantry unit. And now we can do a fire attack with this unit here, just the 1. Now he's got a 4 firepower and a green band. So since he's 4 hexes away, that makes this long range, which gives it a 2 column shift to the left. He is in clear terrain. So he doesn't get any bonus there, but a 4 and 2 column shifts to the left and put it in the 0 column. So he's going to need a good roll, but it is possible now that he's disrupted. If he can get one hit through, he would cause a step loss. And he rolled a 2, which is really good. A 0 and a 2 is 2 hits. So now if the Germans don't roll less than a 5 or less on one of these die, that guy takes a step loss. And they got one. They got one. So that one of them's an 8. So now because of the sniper disrupted him, and that attack made him take a step loss. So we put a fire marker on here. Now, honestly, I don't know if the Germans really have any other fire attacks they want to make right now. And the only card they have left is the op fire card. So we're going to go to the move. We're going to pass for the Germans. And now the Soviets. Okay, so he's going to attack here. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away, which is long range. And we will, let's see, so we have 8. So it's an 8, and it's going to take a 2 columns to the left for long range, which will make it a 4. And then 2 columns to the right for having a second unit will bring it back to an 8. So we could eliminate this, this infantry here with a 3. That's going to be tough. A 3 is 4 hits. So the Germans have to roll really well here. 4 hits. And we took two hits. That's going to eliminate this unit. So that was a good decision there for the Soviets to fire those 2. And that's it. That's the end of the fire phase. They don't have anybody else that, well, I guess they could fire with this guy. Let's do a mortar attack. So we haven't seen that yet. So let's do a mortar attack. They can't actually you can't destroy a tank with mortar fire. You can only disrupt it. Oh, well, you can, but you need to roll a 0, which is hard to do. So let's not do that. Let's instead do this infantry stack right here. So they have a 12 firepower. They're within their range. Blue is long range. So that's not a problem. So they're going to attack this infantry stack. Their infantry that's with them is not going to participate in this. So it's a 12. And so mortars attack target hex only. Target must be within range. And they can only inflict a critical hit on an AFV on a roll of 0. So they are in open terrain. So they get no benefit. So we're just going to roll on the 12 here, which could be pretty bad for these infantry. And they roll a 3, which is a good roll. That's going to be 6 hits. 6 hits. So we're going to roll all 6 dice. Anything over a 5 is a hit. Look at that. They got 1 hit out of that. 3 zeros, 2 5s, and a 6. So they get 1 hit, which disrupts one of these guys. So we'll disrupt the infantry because they can't, like I said, they can't really hit the Storm Panzer. So that will do that. And so that is the fire attack for this mortar. And the infantry can still fire, but they're not going to because they don't really have any attack possible. And the dug-in goes on there as well. All right, so let's move on to the movement phase. So now in the movement phase, the Soviets would get to move first again. The issue that I see here is that I don't know that they're going to move anybody because I don't really see the point of it unless they want to move these guys here. So let's move this infantry up to this hex. So to do that, you're moving through the town. So the town has a movement cost of 1 for leg. They have a movement factor of 2, so they're just going to go 1, 2, and then we'll put a moved on there, like so. Now the Germans could actually, at this point, play the opportunity fire. Conduct opportunity fire marker status is unchanged, and we are in the movement phase. So they're going to play this to use opportunity fire to have these guys fire at them because they can do that with that card. So it's 8 normal range. We get the 2 column shift. They get a 2 column shift the other way, so they cancel out. So it's an 8 firepower attack. We roll one die and we get a 0. And a 0 is always a critical hit. But it's not an AFV, so that's not that big of a deal. But that's 7 hits. So we'll roll all 6 of these. And I'm going to count the 5, even though it popped out. So that's 1, 2, 3 negations, 4 hits taken. I don't even need to check. That's going to eliminate this guy. Yeah, so that eliminates it. So that will be the end of the Soviets' movement, I think. I mean, I could move these T-34s up, maybe. Maybe we'll do that. So through clear terrain, again, we check our movement cost. Open, it's 1. And then once we get into town, it'll be 2. So this would be 1, 3, 5. And they would stop there. And in theory, these guys could now fire on them. But it's green, and it probably wouldn't do much good to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With green, that is actually long range, so they'd get a 2-column shift. And then for armor in a town, they get a 1-column shift. So that would be a 3-column shift to the left, which would leave them at with a 4, unless I use the Panzer IV. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I use the Panzer IV to do it, 3 left. So 8 minus 4 is 4. And then we would end up shifting 1 to the left, because the two here to the right would get shifted 3 that way. That would end up being, actually no, it's 4. So it would be 2 to the left. It would end up being a 0. And I want to move these guys, so I'm not going to do anything, because now I want to move up, because they don't really have a lot of stuff they can do here. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to, they're going to pass. They're done moving. I'm not going to take opportunity fire at that. And so now we go to the Germans' movement, because again, it doesn't alternate. So we go to German movement, and the Germans, well, let's start moving some people up here. So that's 1, and into forest for Panzer costs 2. So that would be 3. And I think we'll stop here and put a moved marker. Now they could opportunity fire 1, 2, 3, 4. They're green, so that's still long range, so they probably would not elect to do that. Now the reason I went here and not here is they can get some defensive bonus in the forest. And in the rolling, actually it's the same. It's the same. So I'm going to put them here, actually. So they would just go 1, 2, because that only costs 1. So we're going to stop right here. They will get a 1-column shift, because I'm going to attack those guys. And actually, now that I think about it, 1, 2, they could do a move and fire. So let's do that. So we're doing a move and fire. Fire factor is only a 4, and their armor, I believe, is a 4. So that's going to be a wash. They are in a forest, so they're going to get 1 hex. They're going to get a 1-column shift to the left for being in a forest. The attackers will get a 1-column shift to the right for being adjacent. Yeah, so they're at short range, so that's a 1-column shift to the right, so that cancels the forest. But because it's movement fire, they still get a 2-column shift to the left, so it's actually going to be in the 0 column. But you know what? Why not? Why not? We're going to roll 1 die and got a 5. And a 5 in the 0 column is 1 hit. So we'll roll now to see if they negate it. And they do, so no harm, no foul. I will put a fired marker on here. Yeah, we're going to use these Panzer IVs. So we can go up to 2 and then fire. So that's what we'll do. We'll go 1, 2 and stop here. But now he's going to do opportunity fire to attack him. So the way opportunity fire works is pretty straightforward too. I take that back. We're still going to do opportunity fire, but we were here, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and stop there, because we're going to try an assault. We'll try an assault, which is probably not a great idea, but we're going to try it anyway. So when they're here, they're going to do opportunity fire. So I'm just going to take this away because it's going to become a fired marker. So again, they have an 8. It's a 4 and with a -1 DRM. So the 8 minus 4 is... So because the rule is that you cannot violate stacking limit, which is 2 units per hex at any time, I've got a bit of a jam here, well, right here mainly. So I'm going to have to kind of go around them because we have bottlenecks, right? We have a hex here that we can get through, but I guess I can remove this flanked marker now. I can't get through it, and then because these guys are stuck. So I could try to start going this way with some of these, maybe. Or try and break through into the town, because our victory spots, our victory hexes are here and here, and there's another one up there with another couple of T-34s. You can kind of see the bottom of the dug-in counter right there. So there were 2 T-34s up there as well that I did not do anything with. That's kind of the last line of defense from the Soviet side. So let's start moving our Panzer IV anyway. I was going to move that and leave the Opel Blitz, which is carrying a mortar platoon. So we're going to go 1. Yeah, we'll go here, 4. And drop a moved on there. 1, 2, 3, and now we'll fire at this right here, which is 2 infantry platoons. So it's a 4. We'll get the 2 column shift. They are in a city, so they'll get a 2 column shift. We're 2 away, so the range is good. That is normal range, so no shifts there. So it's 2 versus 2. It stays a 4. So let's roll our dice here. We got a 3, and a 3 in the 4 column is 3 hits. So let's take 3 die here, and we get 2 hits. So first hit will disrupt 1, and we're going to reduce 1. So I'm going to reduce the bottom one. We'll put this on here, and they're just both disrupted and fired, and this guy gets a fired marker. And let's see, now we can take our Opel Blitz. We'd like to be able to use mortars, so we're going to go 1, 2, and then we're going to unload. So I'm just going to put the mortar on top there, and we'll put a moved marker, because his movement factor is a 6, so he can move up to 3 and unload. So we've unloaded. They're both marked moved because they're done. Now I've got another Panzer IV here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to stack him with this other Panzer IV right there. Well, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and stop there. Actually, no. Let's leave it there for the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can move these guys. So this 47 millimeter gun can only move 1. So he'll go here. Infantry can move 2. So we'll put him here. And they'll both get a moved marker. Now these are only 1, so our Opel Blitz only counts as 1. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and stop right there. Now we can't unload because we moved our entire movement allowance. Now we got our Storm Panzer here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And our Panzer IVs, they can, one of them at a time can move through here. So if we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, moved. 1, 2, 3. Actually, you know what? Let's go 1, 2. Stop there. Moved on here. We'll move these 2 infantry. 1, 2. Thought about here, but I'm going to go here. And we got some Panzer IVs down here. Infantry in the forest can only move, basically it's 1, so 1, 2. But let's see, we might want to move these Panzers through there first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So move back there, move these guys here. And that's the end of the movement phase. So now we would have the close assault phase. And the plan was to actually have these close assault there, but that didn't work because they got disrupted. So that kind of negated that particular plan. You know, they're adjacent, but they can't because it's across the river. They're disrupted. They can't for the same reason. The fort is in this paired hex right here, not this one. So there will be no close assault phase. So we go to the housekeeping phase, which is this marker cleanup. So we will take all of our fired off here. Disrupted stays, fired, and moves come off. Okay, now we are ready to start turn number 2. And I'm not sure if I'll play through the entirety of this. This is a play example, so I'm not really going to go through everything. I have not shown assault in the other games, so I'm not sure if I want necessarily to do it for this one, even though it's relatively easy to do. So let me roll first for the Soviets. They get a 3 for initiative. We'll roll for the Germans. They get a 4, so the Soviets maintain the initiative. So now we draw action cards, 1 for each. The Germans get Interceptor, which negates an airstrike card. And the Soviets get an artillery barrage. That is useful. Okay. Now I'm going to roll to see if they're going to play their card to make the Germans discard artillery cards, because we have to act like we don't know. So I will roll 1 die. If it's even, they will keep the card. If it's odd, they will play the card. It is a 5, so they're going to play the card and basically waste it. So both sides have 1 card now. The Soviets have an artillery barrage, and the Germans have Interceptor. Okay, so after we draw action cards, we go to the rally phase. So rally phase is really simple. You roll against the morale. We know the Soviet morale is a 3, so we'll start right here. So they have to roll lower, equal or lower than a 3. So that will remove the disruption from the Su-152 and the T-34, so they're both successfully rallied. Now we'll check this unit here. We'll start at the top one. They're both infantry, I'm pretty sure, so that's successful. And that is not. So one is good, 1 is not. So we'll do like that. Now we'll do this guy right here. So 1 is good. The other is not. Same thing. All right. That's it. Now we'll do the German rally phase. So we will start right here and work this way as well. Left to right, top to bottom. So the first tiger is good. The second tiger is good. Now we'll do these guys right here. Also good. Now these here. Good. And not good. So one of these Panzer IVs is good and the other is not. All right. And from there we go back to the fire phase. I forgot to remove the fired marker for those guys. Okay, that will do it for this look at the gameplay for Platoon Commander Deluxe, the Battle of Kursk. You did get to see pretty much everything in the game with the exception of the close assault phase. And since I have not really shown assault for the other games in the series, it seems only fair. Plus, we are approaching the 1 hour mark, which I try to avoid breaking if at all possible. And as I mentioned, there are 3 other videos, gameplay videos for this game on my channel already. I put a card in the beginning of the intro video, and I'll put one on this video as well if you would like to check out those other gameplay videos. Or you can simply search the channel for Platoon Commander and that will come up. So that will do it. Thank you as always for watching. Please, if you are interested in seeing the series continue with GD42 from the Gamers Multi-Man Publishing and Fighting Formations from GMT Games, please post in the comments to let me know so I can take that into account. Otherwise, this might be the end of the series and we'll do some recap videos, show the assault phases for all 4 games, and talk about pros and cons, what I like about all of them, maybe what I don't like or like less about all of them, and kind of hopefully provide you with enough information that you can make a call on whether or not any of these games or all of these games might be right for you. So, thanks again for watching. Please consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing. If you would, that would be awesome and much appreciated. But even if not, I hope you enjoyed the video and we'll come back to view future videos in this series and all the other videos that I'm going to be doing, hopefully, in the future. Thank you. And until next time, my name's Joe. This has been Hexed Encountered. Happy gaming.